I almost overslept this. I went on the couch like around about almost 2 hours ago, about 7 o'clock, and I was reading to Riley before he went to bed, and I was reading one of my books. He wants me to read my book out loud while he plays with a toy. And so I'm reading, and I'm like struggling, like my mouth is like mush. I'm like, I can barely talk.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh boy. And so I got through that, and I got out there, and I told Oliver, I was like, I'm going to go to sleep for like 10 minutes just to rest my eyes. Cause like I
gotta do it.
Yeah. And I woke up an hour later.
Whoa.
Like I have an alarm and everything, and it went straight past it.
Wow.
I woke up, it's 7:58.
Oof. My
sons are watching TV, like on the couch where I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
And I legitimately have no idea where I am.
Wow.
It was one of those where I was very confused. I didn't know what day it was. I thought it was 7:58 a.m. I thought we had overslept going to Noah's summer camp.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, crap. We only get one more day and then they're going to kick us out for being late. I thought it was 7:58 a.m. because the sun was up just enough to make me think it was still morning. It was morning. I thought I had spent the night out there.
Yes.
I was so confused.
You wake up and your sons are 21. They're watching Requiem for a Dream. Dad, you ever seen this?
Oh, his arm is gone. Oh, yeah, no, it was just, and you know, that kind of sleep is a double-edged sword, man, because it's so good, but you wake up and it's really frightening because you think it's like that, did I leave the stove on type of feeling, but turned up to like 100.
Yep.
And I think I'm fucked tonight because I don't think I'm going to get any sleep because it was that good of a nap.
Kind of sleep. Yep.
And it was after sunset. So
around 4 or 5, something like that today, we were sitting on the couch and like Dash had said, can Mommy, Daddy, can you sit here with us? It was here with me. We're going to show something. I don't know what it was. Anyway, we were sitting there and like, I just started drifting. And so my wife has like 500 photos of me in various, you could like flip book it of me like falling asleep. Book.
Yeah. You just dozing
but
off.
Yeah, no, speaking of leaving the stove on, we had a weird thing happen yesterday. No, the day before. Dash had woken up and he said he wanted scrambled eggs. So I was like, great, I'm going to make some scrambled eggs. So I grab a pan, put it on the stovetop, and immediately all 4 burners, hadn't touched anything yet. All 4 burners start clicking. And I look and you can see the igniters igniting. So immediately I start smelling for gas. Like, is this thing like leaking gas? Oh. Sarah comes in. She's trying to figure it out. Like, she's got a way better nose than I do. So I rely on her for that kind of stuff anyway.
Yep.
But like, but yeah, no gas. It was just click, 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 click. And I was like, this is wonky. So I run out of the breakers and I just kill power to the breaker. It's on the same circuit as the fridge. So I can't leave the power off.
Right.
So now like that I've got power off to it, I pull the thing out and unplug it, restore power at the breaker, and start looking up like what's going on with it. Yeah. Come to find out, there's a little welcome to our podcast. We talk about mechanical engineering. There's a small module box inside the stovetop, and this is a gas stove. And so what it does is there's an electrical current that comes in, and then each of those 4 burner knobs are connected to that module, so that when you press in and twist, it does 2 things. It releases gas and the igniter sparks. And so I figured because all 4 burners were sparking, no gas, but all 4 burners were sparking, that module must be somehow malfunctioning and sending a current to all 4 of them, even though nothing's happening. And I find a guy online who's like, yeah, this is how you take it apart. You can look at the module, see if it's bad, whatever, like reconnect everything, you know. So I'm like, great, that's what I'll do. So I called my dad and I was like, hey, can you come over and just give me a hand with this? You know, we're going to take this thing apart. And he said, sure.
Yeah, your dad was like, hell yeah.
so like,
there's nothing more that you made his week. He was like,
sure.
He was like, hell yeah, I'll be there in 2 minutes. Grabs his tools and
here we go.
Your mom was like, I thought we were going to have dinner. And he's like, smell you later.
Right. So he comes over and he's like, all right, so let's restore power. So plug it in, click, 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 click. Okay, got it. And he goes, did you try to like ignite them? And because he does the same thing I did, like it smells for gas. He's like, okay, there's no gas, but like, have you tried to actually ignite it? I was like, well, no. Obviously, if they're sparking like that, I didn't want to do anything. He's like, well, let's try it. So we lit all 4 burners, and they lit, and everything's great. And once they were lit, they stopped sparking. So that's cool. But then when we turned them back off, they never did that clicking, igniting thing again. So
I'm just off. Totally.
So it's just off. It's like normal. So that's where we are. The stove is acting normally. And I was like, I'm taking this week off work. So I told Sarah, I was like, I'm off this week. Like if something happens, I know how to fix it. And I've got time. I'll show you if I'm not here what first step should be to get just to be safe. But but yeah, so we're in this weird area where like it malfunctioned and then it stopped malfunctioning. I don't know why it malfunctioned. I don't know how to fix something that isn't currently broken. So we're at that stage where it's like, I know in the back of my mind, new stove might be on the horizon, or at least a new module, which isn't expensive, but it's like a process. And sometimes that feels like my stove is old enough that it feels a little bit like throwing money down the drain if I try to fix it, because it's like, well, it's just going to have another problem, in a few months or next year or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, do I want to spend $1,000 or 50? It's like, well, we'll spend the 50. So anyway, so that's where we are. But yeah, for a minute there, it was like adrenaline rush, because you're like, is gas going? Am I about to blow up the house? What's happening? And so anyway, fun times. Dash did not get his scrambled eggs that day.
The entire time your son's in there like, I'm sorry, where are my eggs?
He literally was like, it's like, where are the eggs? And I was like, well, we're not going to have any eggs today, buddy. And he's like, why? And I was like, the stove's broke. And then the whole rest of the day, he was like, stove's broke. And I'm like, yeah, the stove's broke. And he's like, why is the stove broke? I'm like, I don't know. It just is. He's like, how do we fix it? I'm like, I don't know. I'm working on it. When my dad did come over, Dash was like, he walks up to me and goes, hold me. And I was like, okay. So like the 3 guys are like sitting around the stove and we're talking, and Dash is like,
Got your guys.
What is the problem? And I said, I don't know. That's what we're looking at. And I said, it could be that these things are trying to light, but they're not lighting. They're not supposed to. And he goes,
Yes.
They're not supposed to do that, Daddy. And I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Riley and Oliver both, my 3 and my 5-year-old both, will do the whole, seems like if it's a and then they're just talking gibberish.
Yeah, so right.
They're just playing the role of the guy fixing stuff.
Yes. It's the equivalent of like when your neighbor comes over and he's like, got a fence going up there, huh? And you're like, yeah, we're working hard getting the fence up. Is that a cedar? Is that cedar there? Yeah, I think so. I don't know. It's Home Depot. Did you go to Home Depot and get that? Yeah.
Yep. Sure did.
Is it treated? Yeah, I think it's treated. Yeah, you got to have it treated. Yep. You're gonna paint it. I think we're going to leave it natural. I'd probably paint it if I were you. Okay.
Thanks.
My neighbor yelled at me today. Dash was outside playing, and I'm sitting in like an Adirondack chair, just like, watching him play.
Just trying to relax, live your life.
And I have like a water. I'm like just chilling, and the sun's beating down. It's great. And I look down at my phone, so my head's down like this. And he goes, God. And he walks by and goes, "Wake up there!" And I was like, I'm awake. I'm watching it.
Shut up.
Looked at my phone for 2 seconds and you walk by. I'm a good father.
That's going to haunt you for years, though.
Like not asleep.
The one time my head was down, that guy thought I was doing a bad job.
Thought I was asleep.
Who fucking asked you?
I just looked up and waved. I was like, I'm awake. I'm not going to yell back to you and be like, I'm actually awake.
Yeah.
Friend.
I'm going to make a scene in front of my kid.
Mind your business there.
Go die. There. Hey, why don't you walk off a bridge there? This is Canada now. Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Should go take a long walk off a
Short bridge, eh?
Short bridge, eh?
No, Canada's too nice for that.
Yeah. I think they're secretly, what we've seen recently is they are secretly not mean, but they're very stern. They're like, all right, clearly you've misunderstood our kindness for weakness, eh?
Right. The neighbor yells, I appreciate the feedback, eh?
Yeah, I think take it under consideration, eh? No, like Canada's like, I'm sorry you thought you could fuck with us, eh? This is where I dropped a smile and I get a little bit mean. Use my big voice, eh? Have a good day now.
Have a good day.
This is the Wolfman episode.
Wolfman.
Yeah. All right. Okay. So this is a pretty recent review we did. The biggest joke that each of us wants to reference right now is something you won't understand until most of the way through that episode. So
that's correct.
Why don't you listen? Why don't you listen there? Figure out what it is.
Listen there.
Hey, listen to the podcast there. Wake up.
Wake up.
I love that. Like it's gonna echo and like you're gonna snap to and be a perfect person. Like, oh, yeah, right. You're right. Sorry about that. I was high. I'm
gonna be on my deathbed. Like, remember that one time that one guy thought I was asleep?
All right, please enjoy Wolfman.
And ask for Donna.
We have to leave right now. Run.
Hello? Can anyone hear me? Hello? We were in an accident.
Daddy, are we gonna die?
No, it's my job to protect you.
And we were attacked. I think my husband was infected. Mike.
Daddy? What's wrong with Daddy?
He got sick.
What is happening to me?
Can you understand me? You're hearing me. You're scaring me.
Back off! Please, Daddy's mean. Hurry, Mommy, he's coming.
So the Wolfman is a 2025 horror film. It is not the 2009 Benicio del Toro, Emily Blunt, The Wolfman, I think. But that was one word, like The Wolfman. The Wolfman.
Correct.
Sorry, The Wolfman. This is
Wolfman.
Man. Yeah,
Wolfman.
Excuse me, Mr. Wolfman.
Mr. Wolfman.
Did you drop these piggies? Are these your piggies, sir? This film is directed and co-written by Lee Wanell, which is the entire reason I watched it in the first place, because I really loved The Invisible Man.
Yeah, and The Invisible Man is great.
Upgrade is really great too.
I haven't seen
think
Upgrade,
you have not seen Upgrade. Every time we mention Lee Wanell, Callan and I are like, Dustin, you need to see Upgrade, and he never fucking
I still
does.
Need to.
And I'm telling you, it's good. So this movie stars Christopher Abbott. Know who he is? I didn't either. Julia Garner and Sam Yeager.
When you say Christopher Abbott together, it sounds like it's an animated rabbit character.
I thought it was like Christopher Robin.
Christopher Rabbit.
He was a rabbit. Christopher Rabbit.
Christopher Rabbit.
Son of Jessica Rabbit. Bastard child of Jessica Rabbit.
It's Jessica Rabbit and Roger's son, illegitimate son.
Oh, what a horrendous look. All right. So this is a Blumhouse movie. And
Boy,
it is
it.
it's a adaptation of, the Wolfman, the old Universal monster property. And so in this rendition of the Wolfman or the story of the Wolfman is basically we're going up to Oregon, and we are taking care of some family business, and Wolfman things happen while we're there.
There you go.
And it's pretty simple that way.
Yeah.
Let me see. What did I write about the Wolfman? Or about Wolfman? God, I can't stop saying the Wolfman.
Just Wolfman.
So yeah, another Universal monster movie character rebooted outside of the Dark Universe, which was a hilarious failure that Universal was going to do before.
Yeah, we don't talk about the Dark Universe.
Before the Mummy. I have to remind people, or else we won't learn from our history, Dustin.
True.
Don't shadow ban me.
Yeah. The ultimate lesson in cart before the horse.
I thought this was a really good execution of a very, very basic story.
Yeah.
This is one of those things where it's like, like back when the first Wolfman movie was made, it's probably insane. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Guy turns into a fucking wolf. Whoa. That's pretty nuts, right?
Right.
And now it's like, oh, okay,
it's a sure.
Yeah. I've seen worse. I saw The Substance. Okay.
Yeah. Right.
So I felt like while it was a solid execution, basic story, like well done. I like Lee. I like Wee Wanell. I like Lee Wanell, and I like the way he makes movies. So it's a solid entry for Lee Wanell. But of the three of his films I've seen, I think these are only three he's directed. This is the weakest for me. I think, I don't know what I like more, Upgrade or Invisible Man.
Sure.
I think Invisible Man's probably best because it's just creepiest, most effective. Upgrade's not a horror film. It's, it's just really, really cool.
Yeah.
But I think this one felt really light on theme and on character for me. It just comes off like a thing happens and then it ends, and I felt nothing. Yeah. And that's my thing about it. So in terms of whether I recommend it, I always feel like I say, if you want to see it, but that's not good enough. I would have preferred my time back, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, if I had to pick one or another, it's like, I don't see why people should watch this over another horror movie or other horror movies we've recommended. Like you should watch Barbarian and not this, you should, there's other things. There's more enjoyable things to watch. It's like, if you're going to go one way or the other, like if this was just kind of solid, like well done, but that's just me being a film person. Like, oh, this was well done. But as an audience member, it was like, this is no more like scary and exciting than better horror movies. And it's no more enjoyable and fun than like Megan,
Sure.
And it's like, I'd rather watch Megan. I'm at least Megan is fun,
Sure.
I don't know. So I think maybe I'm judging it a little harshly, but I had higher hopes for this, I suppose.
I don't think you're judging it harshly. Okay. This is about as middle of the road as movies come.
Okay. I thought it was just me.
It's a very simplistic story. It's very obvious, sort of allegory. And I think that for me, it just is so boring. Like it's not even that when you're watching it, you're bored. It's that when you're done, you realize that you cared so little about anything that happened. And like, it wasn't dumb enough to make you mad or feel like that was that was just so dumb, whatever. It was so poorly made. There was none of that. It's like competently made and it just exists, but it's so incredibly forgettable. So I gave it 3 stars, super middle of the road. And I think like, if the question is like, do you recommend it? The answer is just no. And it's not because it's bad. It's because it doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
you won't learn anything from this movie. You won't like glean like, oh, well, now I know how not to make a movie. And you also won't look at it and go, now I'm inspired to make a movie. There's just nothing here. It is the most basic of premises and flimsy characters that like feel so, like just going through the motions. And part of that is like the characters are only exist to serve what's happening in the plot.
Mm-hmm.
But the other part of it is, I think like, I don't know anything about Christopher Abbott, but like Julia Garner, I've seen in quite a few things.
Yeah.
She seems like she's totally checked out in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like to me, she's capable of really good things, and there's just nothing here.
Yeah.
And it's not her fault. It's that they didn't write anything for her. You never know where her head is.
Yeah, right.
As soon as you realize, as soon as you think like, oh, the movie's going to be about her like being jealous of the relationship he has with the daughter, or her, second guessing her abilities as a mother, or her like anything that the movie attempts to give her, it immediately pulls out from under her as she has to deal with her husband's transformation.
Yeah.
And it's so disheartening. And then with him, he's a character for the first half of the film, and by the time the transformation starts, he's never a character again.
Yeah.
And it's so weird to like essentially lose your main character. Now, we've talked about this before, but like Psycho is a perfect example of the bait and switch.
Yeah.
It's here's your main character, here's your protagonist.
The Bates Motel and switch.
Actually, no. This does the same sort of thing. It's here's your protagonist. Oh, nope, it's actually her. Yeah. But it doesn't, but there's no reason for it. And like, I don't know, there's just no, I was so taken aback by like everything that happened, because the plot just happens to the characters, and there's nothing, no decision that they make, and no choice that they're, actively participating in. It's just like, it's essentially, we talk about movies as theme park rides. This is a little bit of a theme park ride, because it's, characters get volunteered for this thing and they had no say in it. It's akin to just walking into a ride at Universal and they're like, we need your help. It's exactly that sort of thing, but it's like, now you're the monster.
My husband's becoming a monster.
Yeah. And I need
our marriage
help.
is on the rocks.
Grab your flashlights. And it's a problem. So while I appreciate that they attempted some things here, maybe we can talk about that more in a minute, but like, I appreciate the attempt, but none of it mattered. None of it landed, and none of it was particularly complex or challenging. And I think that's a problem, because The Invisible Woman was all of those things. It was complex. It was challenging. It was, we're going to tackle this. Maybe it's a hot button issue, but it's more of like just an issue we're going to have to deal with, of toxic masculinity, or, or women that lack agency, gaining agency, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
It made sense thematically, and it had something to say. And this felt like they did the bare minimum of, what do we want to say with this? What could a possible allegory be? Oh, what if it's this? Oh, okay, great. We'll just like hint at it briefly and it won't actually mean anything. And I think that's a problem. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. Again, it's not a bad movie. Like, you're not watching it going like, when is this thing going to end? But you do watch it, and when it's over, go, I think I've already forgotten the movie, and the credits are still rolling. It just doesn't matter at all. And I think that's that's a rare situation for a movie to be in, where the credits are still rolling when you realize it doesn't matter.
Yeah. And it's not that I didn't like enjoy some parts of it, but like, by the time when the credits start rolling and you think like, oh, it just ended and I didn't feel anything, that's the movie didn't do its job. Like, you should care.
Correct.
You know, it doesn't have to be like a mind-blowing movie, but it should at least be like, oh, well, I cared about the characters, and, you know, but it's like the whole time you're pretty sure you know what's going to happen. And the coolest parts.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And you win, or you lose, I guess.
Yeah, sure.
But what was the coolest about the movie was just the newer ways that we visualized what turning into a werewolf might be like, you know, the body horror elements of it. You know, the fact that at a certain point, you know, he can't understand English anymore and can't talk, and, you know, what he hears when someone talks, and, you know, like just the stuff that he's seeing, like his night vision, all that, like that was really cool. And that was all like very Lee Wanell kind of like stuff. Yeah. But that's what I mean when I say like it was a well made, it's interesting, and it was cool, but it's almost like, but why do I feel so bad? why I feel nothing?
Yeah, it's because the movie's lifeless, and part of that is the performances, but part of it is like, you're right. These aren't bad ideas on paper. No, but they're just not well executed emotionally. And so you can't latch onto it and you don't feel anything. Yeah. So like one of the things, this is such an obvious thing, but one of the most appealing things of the Wolfman is a little bit like, you know, the Incredible Hulk. It's the struggle of a man who doesn't want to turn. And to me, it works best when he turns multiple times and he gets to dread the turn every time. Yeah. Right. Like the first time it happens, you don't know he doesn't know what's going on. He becomes this thing, and then wakes up the next morning like, what did I do? And then the next time he starts to feel it coming on, it's like, no, I don't want to do it again. No. What do I have to do? How do I stop it? And then it's too late. It happens again. And like each time the transformation happens, you feel worse for the character because like they keep losing themselves to it, which in and of itself is an allegory of, you know, in its own right, it's, you know, an allegory of losing yourself to addiction. Or losing yourself to whatever. Yeah. But like, but that's the thing. And with this, because the transformation happens only once and the entire film is the transformation, you don't get the dread of it because the character never knows what's happening to himself, like he's not aware of it. And so by the time he starts to become aware of like, I can't understand them anymore and I'm losing my faculties, that's fine, but he's lost enough faculties that he's not able to express the torture that it is losing faculties. And so to me, it makes way more sense to like, you know, have him transform, come back, and then dread it ever happening again. Yeah. And that's like the idea of like, you know, on the full moon, I'm not going to go out. Like I can't do that again. Or whatever it is, like that dread of the full moon, right? That's a huge part of like werewolf lore, so to speak. It's, you know, I don't want to turn every time and I have to, and I can't stop myself from it. That's a cool story that is just completely abandoned here, in favor of like one film long transformation, which is an interesting idea, but it eschews all the inherent drama in its premise. It's one of the reasons why I don't like the idea of there being a Professor Hulk or whatever. It's like you've now ruined the drama of the situation. Like the allegory of what that character represents and what that character fights within himself is now gone. And once you remove that fight, the character doesn't mean anything anymore. They're just they just are what they are. And it's the same thing here. We need the drama of, you know, I'm going to turn, but I don't want to. And that to me makes way more sense. And if the allegory, if they're going with the allegory of like, I don't want to become, you know, I don't know, whatever, spoilers, we're in spoilers. Yeah. If the allegory is, I don't want to become my father, then have that moment where he does become his father and then dreads ever doing that again. It strengthens the allegory because we see at the beginning of the film, the daughter like jumps up on like something dangerous in New York or whatever. And he's like, hey, don't do that. And he screams at her and he's like, sorry, I don't want to be that guy. Like, I didn't mean to behave that way. It's like clearly he's fighting some inner demons.
Yeah.
And when the inner demon just wins over the course of the film, the struggle is now gone. So you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't carry. So I'd much rather have seen him struggle and then come back to his senses and have to deal with what he may have done. Right. Like there's inherent drama in, like, I don't remember Benicio del Toro's, Wolfman very much. I remember liking it. I own it, but I've only seen it the one time. There's just inherent drama in like waking up the next morning and having to wonder, who did I hurt last night?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did I hurt someone I loved? And like, okay, let me call everyone I know. Are you alive? You good? Great, cool. Move on to the next person.
Yeah.
Or, let me go check with my wife. Hey, are you good? Or the inherent like drama of the shame of like your wife is now dressing a wound that that you're the one that gave her that wound.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like that wasn't me. And the complexity in that of, someone struggling with like alcoholism or whatever it might be, or even just a bad temper.
Yeah.
That wasn't me. When I lose my temper, I'm not me. When I lose, the fight with alcohol, I'm not me. Whatever it is, there's inherent drama to that. And they just kind of removed it.
Yeah. It was just kind of stale and it's a bummer. I mean, I think Lee Wanell, I still want him to make movies and keep, but it's just like this Universal stuff is complicated, man, because like, I don't know, just some of it where it's just like, if you don't infuse the premise with more complexity like that, like it's just going to fall flat as like a concept, like the Invisible Man was so good because it wasn't about a guy who can turn invisible. It's about an abusive, controlling stalker.
Yeah.
Like it's the movie is about, abuse.
Well, and really it's about a woman and it's about the way that he's treating her.
Yeah.
And so the Invisible Man is not about the man at all.
Yeah.
I mean, not in the character sense. It's about the woman and her struggle. And that's a cool choice. And here it's like they try to do the same thing. The film's not really about the Wolfman. It's about his wife.
Yeah.
But it spent too long being about the Wolfman.
Yeah.
To ever be about the wife. And they tried some cutesy things like, read my mind or whatever. And the daughter does a thing. And I'm like, I see what you're doing. It's a setup payoff.
From the very beginning with that, I was like, that's going to be the I love you 3000 thing. That's going to be
that's 100%. You're just like, I see through this.
Yeah. Pick a cute thing he and his daughter have.
Yeah. Now I didn't expect him to die at the end. I did expect like,
I kind of did. That's why when he did, I was like, okay.
All right. I thought they'd find some clever way around it so that they could do, whatever, if they want a sequel or who knows what. But like, or like, well, Daddy lives in the woods now. Let's go visit him. And, we got Daddy tied up in the basement.
Daddy lives in the woods.
Like, I don't know, that might be an interesting thing, like an interesting wrinkle if they have him like chained up in the basement and like, you can be yourself, but when the full moon comes, we take you prisoner and hide you in the basement.
You gotta go in the basement. We're going to throw you slabs of meat.
Yeah, right. Exactly. When it first started, I was like, hey, Sam Yeager's in this.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool. I love this guy. And then I was like, oh, he's gone.
As soon as we go to 30 years later, I was like, oh, that's the last we saw of him.
I was like, well, sorry, Sam.
Well, I was like, I love Sam Yeager. And then he's like, he's so mean. And I was like, oh, I don't like when that guy's mean.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I
know. And there's like a basement and everything in the house too. Like it was a perfect setup for like, oh, he'll just live in the basement or he'll go to the basement.
Yeah. Right.
Like everyone else, like Professor Lupin knows to take his potion,
That's right.
every full moon.
And it's coming up.
There's a there's like there's a Black Mirror episode where somebody becomes a werewolf and they know to take her out to this shed and, you know, like pretend that she's in like rehab or something, but really it's she's just chained to a bed so she doesn't kill anybody. And it's like, there's a way to do it, you guys. There's a way to do it. And this is like the film is in present day. It's not like it's the 1800s. It's like, what do we do? It's like, oh, he's a werewolf. I think I know what we can do.
Yes. Yeah.
I saw this in a Dark Universe movie once.
Womp womp.
But that's the thing. It's like, it always bothers me with movies like this where it's like, okay, in this universe, do werewolves exist like in popular culture? Like if you saw this happen, would you go, oh shit, he's a fucking werewolf now? I wonder if he'll change back. Or, or is this the first time this has happened in history to anybody? And we just, there are no, the Twilight movies don't exist. You know, it's just, I after a while, if the movie's too boring, like if there's not enough going on, I slide into those thoughts like, okay, do you not know what a werewolf is though?
I'm assuming they don't know.
Right. And then you have to think about what that implies.
Yeah. The implication of like Harry Potter doesn't exist in this world.
Yeah, Harry Potter.
Or at least not in that state, you know?
Yeah.
In Harry Potter, Lupin is a zombie.
He's just another witch or wizard.
Yeah. Just another teacher.
Where like, you know, in a lot of shows like The Walking Dead, it's like, you guys know what zombies are, right? And
it's really unclear.
It's kind of like we can't really acknowledge, we can't confirm or deny that we know what zombies are. Yeah. Because if we do, then we have to acknowledge that we totally know how to beat them.
Right.
Or that, you know, we're totally prepared. And it's like, you don't have to know what a zombie is in order to know that you probably want to stay away from them.
Right.
But it's still like, wouldn't someone go, that's totally a zombie? I don't know.
Wouldn't somebody go, hey, what are the chances that somebody dreamed up a zombie and then real zombies happened and they're exactly the same? They're defeated exactly the same.
Like he's clearly not the first Wolfman.
Yeah.
So you're saying nobody ever, this is just some legend in Oregon. It's like, it's only like from, you know, the 80s onward that there's been a Wolfman in Oregon. Like, I don't know. So it's just, it's crazy minutiae where you could sit there and talk about it for hours. Like what are the rules? And that's what I would get hung up on, I guess, writing it.
Sure.
And you sort of have to go, okay, well, the movie exists in a vacuum. Like you can't think about it. It's like, but every time I see like a truck, like a Chevy truck or something, you're like, okay, so Chevy exists. What else exists?
Right.
You know, you just, it's
right.
That's the problem with movies sometimes, man. You're just like, but they have phones and they have,
I have to extrapolate all the data. Yeah. Yep. I will say,
that's a Patagonia vest. There's brands here.
Yes.
You can't fool me.
I know what this is. So the Wolfman, it says at the beginning, like it's like a Native American thing. I think that they have like the phrase is like the face of the wolf or whatever.
Oh, right.
So they don't say like the Wolfman. They just say like, oh, there's this like urban legend or whatever, or Native American legend or whatever. And I'm like, I don't know this. I don't know. It just feels like, so this just keeps happening, but only here, or this is happening in a lot of places.
Yeah. You would think that the Wolfman has, there'd be multiple, like it is some kind of virus, you know.
Also, to be fair, the face of the wolf is really misleading because he doesn't really look like a wolf. Nope. I kept waiting for like the actual change where he has like a snout and like, like the thing that we're used to. He's got the snout and the fangs and the ears and, you know, and that never happens. He just becomes like
furry experience.
Yeah, right. He just becomes like marginally hairier and sharper claws and like paler and like that's it. And I'm like, so really this isn't the Wolfman. This is just like
sick man,
sick
hairy man,
sick unkempt man. Like, okay. So I think I would have preferred if they had gone like the full, like, you know, anthropomorphic dog route. It is, you know, it's goofy, but like they can make that creepy. Sure.
Yeah. It's
It just feels like a half measure to be like, we're calling it the Wolfman. He's not going to look like a wolf, but we're going to say that the Native Americans gave him the,
The face of
name
the wolf. Yeah.
face of the wolf, even though he doesn't look like a wolf.
Yeah. You know, it would have made sense, like, especially if you went the multiple transformation route. Like maybe every time he transforms, he looks more and more like a wolf.
Sure.
You know, more and more of his humanity erodes each time he transforms. And it's like I can manage this, but the next step is
you give in.
Get worse and worse. Sometimes do I not change back? You know, that's the kind of stuff you want to explore.
Yeah, totally.
Come on, Universal.
Or you can go the Teen Wolf route and have him play basketball.
That'd be awesome. He's like they're in Oregon, so he's a logger. He just cuts down the trees faster.
Yeah,
with his
this guy's
snout.
great. He's great to have around.
He just eats the tree like a beaver.
Yeah, he's just like on a leash though.
Yeah.
Got to have him on a leash.
Yeah, can't. We tried it without the leash once. We lost
again. 4 good employees that day.
That's good men. Okay.
Hey Tim, how you doing? Oh, my arm is gone. Help!
Yeah. So why don't you put a leash on that thing? I know this
That's
is
a good
Oregon,
idea.
but we have laws.
We got leash laws.
Come on.
He's got the pooper scooper.
There goes Tiptoes over there.
Hey, Tiptoes here.
Hey, Tiptoes, watch out for the Wolfman. All right. That's Wolfman.
Tip paws.
Wolfman Jack.
Anybody who grew up in Atlanta will understand this reference. In the 90s, like the 80s and 90s, there was a furniture company, I believe it was, and it was a guy who sold it, and his name was the Wolfman. And he ended every commercial. It was like, we got bedroom suits, $2.99. And then he's like, and remember, when you come down here, just ask for the Wolfman. And like, that was his thing. And
just ask for the Wolfman.
And eventually his daughter started doing the commercials with him.
Oh.
And so he'd be like, ask for the Wolfman. And she'd be like, no, ask for Donna. and it was like a thing. And I'm gonna pull up a clip. I guarantee you I can find a clip
or
online
anything.
somewhere.
Just ask for Donna.
Ask for Donna. And it's like, okay, it's not like the wolf lady, the wolf pup. It was just.
She goes, no, that's weird. Ask for Donna.
Ask for Donna.
Don't call him the Wolfman. It makes him all strange.
Yes.
He thinks he's so cool and funny, and it's not. I don't like it.
I'm looking it up. Atlanta Wolfman. Yeah, gallery furniture. Ask for the Wolfman. I'm going to send this to you later.
Ask for the Wolfman.
I'm going to show this to you later.
Okay.
But yeah. Yep.
Ask for the Wolfman.
And remember, ask for the Wolfman.
No. Ask for Donna.
No, ask for Donna.
Okay.
That's what this movie should have been. It'd be super specific, and everyone from Georgia would be like, "This is great."
That's what.
And everyone from everywhere else would be like, "What is happening?"
That's what he says when he goes off in the woods for the last time. He's like, "I have to go now, but if you need me, ask for the Wolfman." And then like he runs away, and Julia Garner says, "No, ask for Donna." Looks straight at the camera.
Just right down the barrel. Ask for Donna.
Yeah. Right into the lens.
Title card. Donna begins.
Yeah. It's just
dun, dun, dun,
yeah.
dun, dun, dun.
It's just Donna. And, yeah. You hear like, what I've done.
Wolfman, Rise of Donna. The Dawn of Donna.
The Dawn of Donna. All right. We must end this.
I think that's it. Yeah.